Welcome to Joshua's Library. Yesterday I received an amazing package from Goldsboro Books, so I'm going to share it with you, but first I want to tell you a little bit about what Goldsboro Books is. So one of the questions I do get asked quite frequently is, where do you get collector's editions, where do you get signed copies, what's the difference between that, and I am going to make a video later on, probably in a week or two, explaining all of that. But one of the main places that I personally get my collector's editions or signed numbered editions is from Goldsboro Books. It is a bookstore in London, and they specialize with signed first editions of books, and they do exclusive editions, whether they add stenciled edges or sprayed edges or a slipcase or a custom design underneath the dust jacket. It's always signed, it's a first edition, and it's numbered. So it could be one of 100 books, it could be one of 250 copies, it could be one of 500, one of 1,000. I believe their max limit is 1,000 copies that they produce. So they also have two memberships. I belong to both. The first one is the Premier membership. The Premier membership is 12 books a year, so it's one book a month. They will choose a book that could be any genre. It could be contemporary, it could be horror, it could be thriller, it could be fantasy, it could be nonfiction, whatever it might be. They will choose a book. It is going to be a signed first edition. It'll be one of 1,000 copies, and that's the book you get. And you can only skip up to 3 months per year if you don't want the book. And then they also have a science fiction fantasy fellowship. That I prefer. However, there's books in the Premier membership that I really want, so I have both. But the Science Fiction Fantasy Fellowship is the same concept. They will choose a book, they'll do an exclusive edition, one of 1,000 copies, and every month you get it. The difference between the Premier membership and the Science Fiction Fantasy Fellowship, the Premier membership, when you first purchase it, you're committing to a year. You can skip up to 3 months, but you're committing to at least 9 books, and you're committing to a full year. The Science Fiction Fantasy is month to month. You can cancel at any point. You could get it for 1 month and then cancel the next. It's up to you. But they have chosen some amazing books in the Science Fiction Fantasy Fellowship, as well as the Premier membership. So I'm going to start with the Science Fiction Fantasy Fellowship, and this is obviously, if you've watched my other videos, you know that this is one of my most anticipated reads of this year. It is Light of the Jedi, The High Republic Light of the Jedi by Charles Soule. I am super excited that Goldsboro decided to go with this book for their January pick for the Science Fiction Fantasy Fellowship. It comes with dark blue sprayed edges, which is super cool, and like I mentioned earlier, it is a signed first edition, and it's numbered 1 of 1,000. So here you can see the signature. It's signed by Charles, and it's number 325 of 1,000 copies. I am very excited they chose this book, and I really, really hope that they do The Rising Storm by Cavan Scott, which is the second book in this series, and they do an exclusive edition. I'm very hopeful, and I think they will, but we'll see. So if you don't know, the High Republic is a new era in the Star Wars galaxy far, far away, and it takes place 323 years before the Battle of Yavin, or before the Battle of the Death Star, and this is the first book in that era. This is the adult novel in the series. There is also a young adult, a junior, a children's book, and 2 comic series. Alright, so the next book that I got is from the Premier membership, and so this comes in a custom slipcase. It is The Prophets by Robert Jones Jr., and it is also a signed and numbered edition. So this is also number 325 out of 1,000. And as you can see, this one doesn't have sprayed edges, but it does have a custom slipcase, which is super cool. Alright, so the next one, So those are the 2 book of the months that I got from them, and I just went on a book buying spree several months ago last year and pre-ordered a bunch of books, a lot of which were from Goldsboro, and so I also got I received 3 more books from Goldsboro in this package. So the first one is The Last Thing to Burn by Will Dean. This has black sprayed edges, which is super cool. I love when it's like orange or red with black sprayed edges. That's awesome to me. This one is number 123 out of 250 copies. So it's a very small run. It's an exclusive edition, and I'm very excited for it. This is the book without the dust jacket, and I believe this one's a thriller. It has to do with, well, I'll just read you. Why don't I read you? So this is the synopsis. She lives in a small farm cottage surrounded by vast open fields. Everywhere she looks, there is space. but she is trapped. No one knows how she got to the UK. No one knows she is there. Visitors rarely come to the farm. If they do, she is never seen. Her husband records her every movement during the day. If he doesn't like what he sees, she is punished. For a long time, escape seemed impossible, but now something has changed. She has a reason to live and a reason to fight. Now she is watching him and waiting. So I'm very excited to read this. I can't wait. Sounds very interesting. It piqued my interest, so I had to get it. The other one that I got is The System by Ryan Gaddis. I wanted to say Gatz, but it's Gaddis. So this one has like a bright red, kind of like a darkish orange sprayed edges. On the camera it looks orange, but it's more of a reddish, I would say. Which, again, black and red, I love the combination. So this one is number 115 out of 250 copies. It's signed by the author. Here is the, underneath the dust jacket of the book. And so this book, I believe, takes place in Los Angeles, and it's about gangs. Let's see, I'll read you a little bit of the synopsis. It's a longer one, so only a little bit. The system can save you, or it can break you. On the 6th of December 1993, a drug dealer known as Scrappy is shot and left for dead on her mother's lawn in south central Los Angeles. A heroin addict witnesses the shooting and seizes the moment to steal Scrappy's drugs, as well as the handgun that was dropped at the scene. When he's busted, he names local gang members Wizard and Dreamer as the shooters. There's only one problem. One of them is guilty, the other innocent. None of that matters, though, when the gun turns up again, miles from where the shooting happened, and both are arrested. Innocent or not, the gang tells them both to keep their mouths shut and take their charges. So it's a very interesting book. I am excited to read this book. It's not the genre. These two books are not quite the genre that I typically read. I read a lot more of the science fiction fantasy, and so it's nice to kind of expand my comfort zone. And the last book that I got from Goldsboro is A Sky Beyond the Storm by Sabaa Tahir. It is the last book in the Ember and the Ashes quartet. I am super excited for this book, and I cannot wait to read this. I'm actually going to be rereading the entire series, and you heard it here first. I am going to be hosting a read-along and trivia event where you can win a bunch of prizes with an Ember and the Ashes series by Sabaa Tahir. We're going to be starting on March 1st, so make sure you stay tuned, subscribe to this channel. I'll be announcing it very soon, all the details. I will be announcing it in about a week. So more information on that coming soon. In the meantime, check out this beautiful special edition. So it has bright yellow edges. This is only one of 250 copies. So this is number 128 out of 250. Unfortunately, I do not own all of the other Goldsboro editions in the series. I only own A Reaper at the Gates, which is book 3, and Sky Beyond the Storm, which is book 4. Still looking for books 1 and 2. Hopefully I can find them for a normal-ish price. The nice thing with Goldsboro Books is they're not overpriced. They're very reasonable. I will say the expensive part is just the shipping, because the shipping itself costs about $9 per book. So when you're getting a book, it's only going to cost you, as an example, for Light of the Jedi, I believe it is $22.50 for the membership, and so $22.50 would be about $26 or $28, which is the normal price for this book. If you go to any store in the United States, it's $28. So it's the same price, however, the shipping makes it go over a little bit more. But it's a collector's edition, it has sprayed edges, it's signed, it's numbered, and it's going to go up in value, which is the really cool thing with these types of books. And that's kind of my problem, is I justify buying all of them because I feel like, well, they're going to go up in value, so it's an investment, it's fine. But I will do another video talking a little bit more about collecting books and the different types of books that you can collect, the different editions, what advanced reader copies are, and answering any and all of your questions. If you guys have any questions at all about different editions, feel free to drop them in the comments, subscribe so you don't miss the video, and I'll see you guys next time.